You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me is nobody. Apparently, the panel is short this week. I do have some people planned for the following weeks. That being said, they will be some different voices. Some of them will be returning voices. So hopefully you guys get the gist of that. Being last week, we didn't get anything as far as comments on the episode, so I'm taking that either A, nobody listened to it, or B, nothing was interesting. So, either that or I said my piece and I left it there. So yeah, if you haven't listened to that episode, I feel like I got to get off some things off my soapbox. That being said, there is an episode of Altered Geek, or a special edition of that and Geekcast Radio combined that will be coming out soon with TFG and Mike, myself, and Michael Wilson, talking about the thing that happened. There was a local radio, Jesse Raz did a hot car thing where he sat in a car for like an hour and something to kind of demonstrate what has been happening to children lately. So he kind of explains like the whole scenario as it goes by, and you get to actually watch him in a live stream of slowly degrading health-wise as far as watching him do this video. So we're going to be talking about the repercussions of that and children being left in the car. So being that Michael Wilson and I both have kids, it's just kind of one of those heart-wrenching things that I can't believe somebody would forget their kid. But and the fact that they're telling somebody to keep their cell phone with them so they don't forget their kid is kind of absurd. But again, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, a little bit's happened since last episode. I do have quite a few different things planned for this episode than just news. I do have a little bit of that coming up on the Altered Geek News Network and some Altered Gaming. And then I have some stuff for the Super Altered Geek, and there will be a little bit of the top 50 roundout, so you'll have to listen to the episode to kind of catch that as far as where the stuff ranked. And I've been scouring the top 50 part 1 and part 2 to make sure I've gotten what I need from those episodes to see where things more or less will end up lying in the rankings. So yeah, this episode and podcast is sponsored by Loot Crate, which is a monthly subscription box service for geeks, nerds, and comic book lovers and pop culture aficionados. It is containing $45 worth of items that are exclusively created for the Loot Crate community. Each crate has a theme centered around a major franchise, theatrical release, and event. And this month's theme is dystopia, so like apocalyptic future. So we have Matrix, Fallout, RoboCop, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, BioShock Infinite, and it says, welcome to dystopia, a new world to die. So that's what it says on the art. So yeah, you can get a special Loot Crate Dystopia box by visiting lootcrate.com/GCRN and using promo code TBV to save $3 or 15% off the box when you order it, which is $19.99. And you can get that until June 19th when they change the box over. So catch it now while you still can. So with that, we will be back with the Altered Geek News Network.
You're listening to the Altered Geek News Network.
And we're back. So coming up first, we have Supergirl Season 2, new characters to include Lex Luthor's sister, which I'm not surprised to say that Lex Luthor's going to have somebody of high caliber show up in the show. So I guess season 2 is going to add a bunch of new characters. Yeah, they're going to also have a proper appearance of Superman. So I'm wondering who they're going to get to play him. There's a bunch of speculation on who could play Superman in the show, but they're saying that he'll be showing up for a couple episodes for sure and actually be there. So they'll also have the cliffhanger ending from season 1, revived and fixed, and then of course Lex Luthor's sister will be among the additional characters, and she'll be known as Lena Luthor, as the younger sibling of the already existing adult nemesis of Superman. Yeah, it's Superman's going to appear on screen in the first 2 episodes of Supergirl Season 2, so I'm actually kind of pumped to see all this. Lena Luthor will be in the 25 to 35 year range, arrives in town to get out from under the shadow of her infamous brother. She's described as sexy and smart and determined to get what she wants, but what does she want? That remains unclear. And then they have information on her, but it's hard to say what's going to go, because I don't have too much information as far as like Lex Luthor's kind of family tree. I know there's a lot of different Luthors that kind of play into the timeline, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I'm super stoked for season 2 of Supergirl to hit on the channel, and I think that this will be very beneficial by adding Superman, because that was the kind of big MacGuffin that kind of sucked of season 1, was that they kept mentioning and tiptoeing around it and using text messages or phone calls, but not actually having him there. Superman's coming, and then he gets mind controlled, and then he's in the crowd with everybody else. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. The Flash, Season 3, adding major recurring character. As we know, with Season 2, Flash runs back in time, saves his mother from being murdered by Reverse Flash, basically bringing about the Flashpoint paradox. But it's not saying how this is going to fare with Arrow and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. But it does say that Tom Cavanaugh will be returning for Season 3, though it's unclear if he'll be Earth 2 version of Harrison Wells from the second season or the Reverse Flash in disguise version of Wells from the first season. It says that Carlos Valdez, Cisco, teased the fans can expect a way different in a really exciting way Season 3. However, there will be a new face when the Flash returns. So I'm wondering what's going to happen here. Could be something different. So, yeah, I don't know what to expect, because I'm not heavy into the lore of the Flash either. If it were Batman, I would know like the ins and outs of it, but like this, I'm enjoying every twist and turn and everything about it. Like, I'm learning as much as I can about the Flash as I go along, and Arrow and all these other characters. So, but it says that the introduction of the Justice Society of America and the finale of Legends of Tomorrow, we may end up seeing Henry's doppelganger, the real Jay Garrick, show up again, and even possibly like Mr. Terrific. Because Justice Society of America members are Mr. Terrific, Black Canary, Hourman, Hawkman, and of course the Flash, which they've all, some of them have been introduced already. I'm looking forward to seeing what Season 3 of the Flash does. I'm really loving the DC TV universe a lot. I find that their stuff is very rich and entertaining. But kind of let me know what you guys think. So I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. The X-Men TV series Legion is to broadcast soon. It's going to be on 125 different countries. FX's new X-Men television series Legion will air day and date on Fox networks in those countries, and that's an early 2017 premiere date. Based on the Marvel Comics character David Haller, Legion is set in the universe of 20th Century Fox's X-Men film franchise, which is actually kind of refreshing because that would be the first time that something's actually, as long as they pull from it, like actually acknowledged as being a part of it, even though like they say that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a part of the Marvel Universe, even though it really isn't, because it doesn't correlate whatsoever in the film universe, but in the TV, like, everything's connected. So it's just, I don't know, it's weird. So I hope that they actually do that. So I'll be curious to see what this turns out to be. I don't know how much of it I'll actually tune into because I'm already overwhelmed with television shows. But they're saying that, because I don't know nothing of this, but I know Haller is the son of Professor X. I will definitely check it out. But if you guys have anything that I could possibly check out to kind of get the gist of what this is, just drop me a line. So moving on, Justice League's J.K. Simmons is impossibly buff. I don't know if you've seen that image floating around the internet, but we have J.K. Simmons running around with some bulging muscles and a big beard, and he looks like like Bonesaw or whatever from the first Amazing Spider-Man. It's kind of crazy. So I'm wondering what capacity Commissioner Gordon's going to play in this movie. I almost was kind of arguing in my media class today that they could end up seeing like a scene with Bruce Wayne and Commissioner Gordon like boxing or something, to kind of show off their might and kind of be communicating, because maybe Commissioner Gordon knows Bruce Wayne is Batman at this point. But it's hard to say. I'm willing to give J.K. any chance in the world for this because he's just a phenomenal actor. But yeah, I'm not so sure I like the fact that they're making everybody so ripped for the Snyder universe, but I'll just go with it. So kind of digging into the other DC thing, Suicide Squad is officially rated PG-13, which I kind of saw it going that way anyway, but that's besides the point. Shout Factory, the people that have the rights from Hasbro's Transformers properties, is coming out with a Transformers the movie DVD and Blu-ray on September 13th, and they have a new cover on it that looks like almost Transformers animated type of animation on the cover, but you have Optimus Prime, and it's like a new rendition of the old art, so it's kind of interesting to look at. And then kind of rounding out a little bit of the news here, we have, DC Comics has, like, of course, their new Titans, and then it shows Rebirth, Wally West designs, and the other Titans redesigns, which kind of harken back to their olden days, or they've given it a little bit different touch now to kind of sleek them up a little bit. So I'm kind of really liking really digging the new suits. That's pretty much it on the news. I mean, I have some other stuff, but it's not really worth bringing up other than the fact that there's a fan-made supercut of Justice League Flashpoint Paradox using all of the live-action like television and some of the animated stuff and some of the stuff from Injustice Gods, like, kind of mashed together to create this amalgamation of how cool this could be in live action. Which I'll have that in the episode post to kind of show that off. But it's so spectacular on that, how that came out. So with that being said, we'll be back after this quick break with the Altered Gaming division.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. You can email us, feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @alteredgeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. And we're back. So, in this part of the episode, we'll be talking about Altered Gaming. And I wanted to bring attention to the fact that I've been doing on my Altered Geek Entertainment channel, which will also soon have some like top fives and some other type stuff on YouTube. It has my live streams from me playing Battlefield 4 on YouTube Gaming, and eventually I'm going to start playing like Red Alert, Command & Conquer 2, and maybe some Diablo 3 and some other games, just depending on what I can manage to pull out of my archives, and maybe some Unreal Tournament and just whatever else. I'm kind of trying out different things with that as far as that's concerned. So with that being said, I also linked to the episode or the recent recording from YouTube Gaming on the website post. So getting into the actual content of the Altered Gaming, again, I'm listing the complete E3 2016 live stream schedule just because it's pertinent information there. But also in the news, Injustice Gods Among Us 2 is confirmed, and they confirmed Supergirl, Grodd, Atrocitus as playable characters. Also, they dropped the trailer for the game, and it looks spectacular. I'm waiting to see some actual gameplay, which is supposed to be coming next week, or maybe even this week. I'm not quite sure, but it's interesting to show the characters battling, and it looks like Flash is going to get destroyed, and then he puts on this like Tron like metal armor that just kind of extends from his current suit, and he just starts battling, destroying Superman in it, and it's definitely got like the Tron lines with like his lightning energy in it, and then you see Batman jump in, and he's got like this green almost kryptonite suit fighting Aquaman, and then eventually puts on the Batman Beyond suit from that, and you can see all the characters put on new battle armor, so it's really sweet to check that out. The only thing that's kind of weird is the fact that they're all putting on Iron Man armor to fight further. Don't get me wrong, I like the fact that they're going to be all customizable and you can build up your own custom suits for the characters as you play. But I'm not quite sure what to expect from it. I mean, I know that it's going to be a button masher, but I'm kind of hoping that they don't go with like all the gimmicky crap and they actually make a decent game, but only time will tell. So getting into the fun part of Altered Gaming this week, we have the article where a PayPal user, or rather PayPal refuses to refund $50,000 to a Twitch donation troll. The beneficial part to this is, and I've got the episode post there, or the link in the episode post. This guy watched 5 different Twitch streamers' feeds and started donating $250 increments, and then more $250 increments, until the donations had soared to about $11,500 on some of the accounts, and to the point that he ended up spending $50,000 between 5 different Twitch streamers. Don't get me wrong, I would love to make that much money just sitting there playing a game I'm going to play anyway as a donation, but it's wrong for this guy to sit there and play with these people like that, their emotions and their livelihood and their donation pool, and to sit there and just be a dick about it. Because it says that there was basically there was a troll of the basest variety. He planned to wait a month and cancel the transactions through PayPal, by which time the streamers would have spent some of the cash. Yet sometimes dirty deeds do get punished, which is nice. PayPal refused to pay it back. The guy's name was iNexus_Ninja, who's just, this kid is just sick. Like, why would you do that to people? Like, get their hopes up and then just give them this money and then just totally turn around and flip it. But I guess he had tweeted and mentioned, and this kid's from Australia named Anthony Archer. He was on Reddit and months ago mentioned he suggested he use his parents' credit card to pay for the shenanigans, and the card apparently carried that kind of load just fine, which I find a little odd that the parents didn't notice that the kid's racking up charges, or the fact that it's on his PayPal account. So it kind of leads me to wonder why his parents trusted him with all this, if he's such a little brat. Or if they didn't lock it up better if they knew he was a little brat. But, yeah, so, you know, and stuff like this has happened in the past to people. But it's funny that PayPal's essentially sticking to their guns and saying, yeah, no thanks, you're not getting anything. So the only thing that's kind of wrong is it kind of screws the parents. But yeah, I guess, you know, everything comes to those who mess with people. So I don't know. He got his in the end. So, but yeah, it's great for the people that won the money. I mean, that's awesome, but it sucks the unfortunate circumstances that they had to receive it. That was total BS, and the guy was a total douche. So yeah, going to be moving on to another segment, which is a little bit different this week, and it's where I get to talk about some of my side projects. So we'll be back after this.
Oh yes, hello, I'm Megatron, and you're listening to Altered Geek Unlimited. Excellent, yes.
And we're back. So, in this segment of the show, I plan on talking about a screenplay I wrote in my class called Altered Generations. And for those that don't know, the inception of this idea came along when I did the pop culture class on edx.org, and I took it twice. The first time I did the future timeline, the second time I did the modern timeline, like right now. So I basically took real life experiences and characters that I created and kind of mashed it all together. And came up with this kind of interesting story of how, you know, and that's why it's called Altered Generations, is because things that may happen in the future or in the past between characters may alter the other generation. And yes, the future can modify the past, and obviously the past modifies the future. So, so there's like little fun things that happen in this episode that I wrote, and it's supposed to be like a pilot, 60-page, with the opener and then the teaser for the next episode, or next string of episodes. I have an entire 13 episode plot line kind of broken down a little bit, but it's not actually in this, because the goal with the assignment was to do just one episode or a pilot, and I built up the entire semester to create this pilot. This was the story that I started writing as a novel at the beginning of the year, and it's actually totally different than what I started writing in that novel. And I actually got 2 chapters into the novel, and it's not even closely resembling it. But I may be able to retool some of the stuff I have and throw it into here, or at least make them later chapters, kind of throwing back a little bit. But so I was looking for an idea, since we had to create our own production companies or our own companies in general for this class, and I actually brought my SCP-21 studios to life, which I've had for years. It wasn't official. Now it's official, so I can use this as a part of my project, and as well as any other video production I've done for this career or this college course path. So I had to do the social media channels for the SCP-21, but I also did it for Altered Generations while I was at it. I have the art, I have the characters, I have the storyline. So I'm kind of toying around with some different ideas, and I've been using Fiverr lately. I used it for the new Geekcast radio theme song. I used it for that other sound that I had for the opening of the last 2 episodes of Altered Geek, which I may use for something else, but it just didn't quite fit enough for this, so I went back to the other one. I've used it for the SCP-21 Studios intro video. And I've used it for John Bailey doing "You're listening to Steve Megatron Phillips on Altered Geek Unlimited," so I have that. But I also sold my first gig today, which was I did a graphic design for a retro Geek Dad, so it's actually pretty cool. So again, I'm having fun with it. I'm kind of playing around with it, but an idea I got in my head is I was thinking about possibly producing part of the Altered Generations screenplay with voice actors to portray some of the characters and kind of, trying to feel it out and see what happens. The other idea, because like eventually I would like to see this in live action. I was toying around with the idea of doing like possibly like a Kickstarter / Patreon on it. And I'm not quite sure, like, I mean, I might submit like some of the script if people are interested in reading part of it, to kind of tease what's the premise more or less, and to kind of give them like what they would be entering into. Because I myself am not an animator. I am not. I can do voice acting, but physical, doing it in person, I have a very difficult time because I'm very introspective as far as when I meet people in person. I kind of go into this cocoon unless I have this vibe that they remind me of somebody else, and then I can open up immediately. Or if I get to know them, I open up, and then people can't shut me up. So with doing this, I'm kind of wondering. I'd like to do it as a live action thing and have it as an actual production for my SCP-21 Studios, but I don't. And I'm learning how to do like the production side of things in this class, and I have in some of the other ones, so I realize how to do a lot of it and how to edit and whatnot. But my possible goals, I'd like to see it in live action, and I'd like to actually produce it as an episode or a pilot. I did submit it to a couple of studios, so I'm hoping that it makes it into that round. And I tried Netflix. Netflix, unfortunately, you can't get an audience with them unless you have an agent. I found that out the hard way. But I can't get an agent unless I saw a script. So again, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like that. Go to college, get a degree. Because you can't get a job because you need a degree, but you can't get the degree, or you can't get the job because you don't have experience. So either way, you're screwed. It's that magic, that Schrodinger's cat type thing from like Big Bang Theory. So anyways, I'm stuck in that kind of catch-22. So I did submit it to Amazon Studios, and I'm waiting to hear back. So their caveat is it's a 45-day wait before you get like an ultimatum of one way or the other, whether they decide to take it and option it or pass, or if they decide to, hold on to it or not. I'm hoping that they option to buy the script and keep me on as like a show writer type thing, which would be great. But even if they decide to hold on to it, either way I'd get paid, but it's significantly less. I hope that, because I'd like to see this in action now rather than later. I'm kind of hoping that it does take hold, because I think that it's kind of got that nice mix of like our modern media age, with watching people play YouTube and watching people play games and watching people, or listening to podcasts or, these geek events. So, I mean, I have a lot of that mixed in there. I basically like, the lead character is like me personified by like 10 times. Like, the personality is more outgoing. I took everything that I didn't like about myself and I changed it. And I made everything that I like about myself in the character, and I blew it out of proportion basically, so that I'm this larger than life character, but still realistic enough. But anyways, I have this whole slew of heroes and villains that I've been working on, and I'd just love to see this as an actual thing. And I'm still going to actually continue with the book side of things, because you never know what happens when you do that. But now that I have this script to kind of play off of, I know what I'm going to do for the first, however long it takes to actually write this part of it. And then I can kind of go from there. But I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about the whole concept of it. And basically the log line for it is, after being left for dead from a failed assassination attempt, a young media mogul becomes the only person who can save humanity. And I'll include a copy of the image in the episode header featured banner, as far as that's concerned. But I'm really hoping to actually get this made. It's I've always wanted to create my own universe. I've always wanted to have my own superheroes. I've always wanted to do all this. So I mean, it would be a dream come true to me. But if it's animated, I would love that too, because I would try to voice several characters if I could. So there is that. So I think with that, I will move on and we will go to the top 50 video game franchise countdown wrap up, where I will cover all of the games that didn't make the list that I noticed people commented on in the show notes. So I will be back right after this.
You're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Unleash the geek in you.
And rounding out the podcast tonight, we have the top 50 video game franchise countdown. Now, I will say with the experiment that was placed on this episode, or this franchise thing, I do think next time I may go with actual video games, because I found that it was hard to kind of differentiate, because there are a lot of franchises. There also are a lot of video games, but then again, you may not see everybody pick the same game, so it'd be a little bit different. But I would expand it to the top 100 next time, because there were a lot of games that were left out of this list that were between like 51 and 100, which unfortunately got left off the list. And because it was a top 50, a lot of things got left out that shouldn't have been. If it was a top 100, I feel like some of these probably would have been shifted a little bit differently. Somebody mentioned something about Borderlands and Elder Scrolls, which were both actually in the countdown in the first part one. And that was 196 points for Borderlands, and Elder Scrolls was 186. They were on 6 lists each. So, yeah. So moving into the next part, anyway, we have at number 51 Streets of Rage. That's my own personal one of the ones I liked. At 136 points on 6 lists. Silent Hill was at 136 points with 5 lists. Streets of Rage got one up because it had an extra list, so it's at 51. And Silent Hill is at 52. 53 is Guitar Hero at 131 on 6 lists. Contra was at 50 on number 54 with 130 points on 4 lists. Mario Kart. This was one that was brought up quite a bit on the comment section about it getting left off. It did not get compiled with Super Mario Brothers. It unfortunately was a casualty of the list because it was only on 5 lists, and it was at 130 points, and it was number 55. Then moving down just a little bit, we have Ratchet and Clank at 62 on 111 points on 6 lists. Angry Birds is number 63 at 108 points on 4 lists. Dragon Ball Z, which is one I was curious about, is number 64 with 105 points on 4 lists. Duke Nukem, 65, 104 points, 6 lists. Oregon Trail, that was another one that was brought up, which I didn't realize that there were, I guess I forgot that there were more than one game in the Oregon Trail series. It's number 66 and 103 points on 4 lists. Rainbow Six, number 67, is 102 points on 4 lists. As you can see, there's a trend. A lot of these are right in that 50 to 100 mark. So it kind of screwed them. Pac-Man was number 69. How ironic with somebody that just eats. 101 points on 7 lists. Prince of Persia was number 70 with 100 points on 5 lists. Double Dragon, which was another one I remember brought up, number 72 on the list. 97 points in 6 lists. Rock Band was number 74 with 89 points on 5 lists. Transformers, number 77 with 85 points on 2 lists. StarCraft, 78 with 84 points on 6 lists. Still, despite 6 lists, it lost to Transformers, which was on 2 lists and ranked higher. Bomberman was number 79 with 83 points in 3 lists. Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Now, this was one that was kind of interesting. Star Wars actually was broken up by each individual franchise, which if it was grouped together as a whole as Star Wars, it still would have made the top 25 regardless. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see. It actually probably would have actually hit it wouldn't have hit the top 25, but it still would have hit between 26 and 50, but it wouldn't have been at number 40, which was Battlefront. Battlefront was number 40 on the list, and it was on 7 lists. Now, if we would have combined all the Star Wars, it probably would have boosted it a little bit. It may have made it to the top 25, but I still think it would have been in the same episode. But anyways, like I said, Star Wars Rogue Squadron was 83 points on 3 lists. This is going to come back to play again later. Unreal Tournament was number 83 on 82 points on 2 lists. Carmen Sandiego was 84 on 80 points and 3 lists. WWE was at number 91 with 74 points and 3 lists. 97 was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, 67 points on 2 lists. Baldur's Gate was number 100 on 63 points and 3 lists. Mario Party, unfortunately, got a casualty here at 102 on the list, 63 points and 3 lists. Frogger got decimated, number 106 with 58 points and 2 lists. And then moving down the list, we get like DDR is number 127 with 40 points and 2 lists. James Bond was number 129 with 40 points in 1 list. Monkey Island was 133 on the list with 39 points in 1 list. Still moving down the list. There's like 300 numbers here, but 153 was King's Quest with 28 points in 1 list. Gauntlet was 156 on the list with 27 points in 1 list. Minecraft was number 157 with 27 points in 2 lists. WWF SmackDown was 179 on the list with 23 points in 2 lists. Coming in at 185 was Leisure Suit Larry, tongue twister there, with 15 points on 1 list. And then Lego Star Wars was at 211 with 3 lists and 1 point each. Or, I'm sorry, 3 points and 1 list. So, yeah, there was quite a few games that unfortunately were a casualty on this list. You will notice I did not mention a few other significant games which did not show up. Mega Man X, which unfortunately was a casualty due to getting mixed in with Mega Man. Because typically I would have put Mega Man X, but I believe I put Mega Man on my list, and I loved the Mega Man X franchise. Wolfenstein. What a travesty. They didn't even hit the list. Wasn't even on it at all. I mean, look at Wolfenstein 3D. I mean, that was like the precursor to Doom. And then Doom is on the list. Like, and then you have like games like Wolfenstein, you know, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And so anyways, yeah, it was just absurd. WCW, not on the list. GoldenEye, that's a big, like, what the WTF. Yeah, it wasn't even on the list. Borderlands, I don't think that was on the list. I'm going to double check real quick before I insert foot in mouth. It was, okay, that was on the list. I'd already mentioned that. Okay, good. I was about to have a heart attack. Just to double check. I'm going through a couple of these again. But yeah, that's nuts. Twisted Metal was 58 with 127 points in 7 lists. So I mean that's pretty much all of them right there, and it's just crazy. Like the ones that didn't make the list based on the fact that they were just between 50 and 100. So I mean you can only imagine what the list would be if we went individual games and did a top 100, or if we actually open this up to be a top 100, because I think things would be ranked a little bit differently. I will say that where like Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, like those are icons in their own right. Like they deserve to be where they're at. There's no denying it. But yeah, I mean it's just crazy what changed between the lists. So I think with that, I'm going to cut the episode. And be sure to listen to the special episode that is recorded with myself, Michael Wilson, and TFG1 Mike over on the Geekcast Radio and Altered Geek feeds. I have quite a few things coming up. I've got a surprise for next week as far as the host and then the topic. It's not going to be a news show at all. It's totally going to be topic based next week. So if you got any topic ideas, be sure to send them to @AlteredGeek or @SCP21 or email me feedback@geekcastradio.com. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.